She's so aggressive.
Recording in
Hey everybody, it's your favorite ladies, Lauren and Bridget.
Hello. We're alive somehow. Maybe.
We are. I don't know what happened. I feel like it's been 10 years since we have spoken to each other, not in a text form, but it's only been like a week and a half.
Is it really only been a week? It does feel like it's been a long time. Yeah. But that's also how this past week felt to me. It feels like it's been a month. Feels like...
Well, you had a lot happening this past week.
I did.
My condolences, by the way.
Thanks.
So sorry.
My Aunt Tracy passed. She's my great aunt, my grandpa's last sibling, and so I'm in a weird funk after that. But you know, c'est la vie, or c'est la not vie, because she died. Oh,
say Navi?
Say Navi?
Like
Navi? Like
say Navi.
Avatar, but not the Airbenders. The blue people.
Or like Zelda.
Or like Zelda. Yeah, that's a better one. Never
Navi.
Mind. Hey, listen.
It's okay. Okay.
Show me where to go.
Oh, okay. Alright, I'm listening. And then they just tell you the same thing over and over again. You have to go do a side quest, and it's like, hey, did you know that the princess is in Hyrule Castle? And I'm like, Navi, shut up. Oh, by the way.
Yes, I did know.
So, I'm feeling really personal about that right now, because I just got my Nintendo 64 from childhood from my older brother, because he just moved into an old house. And I got it to work. It took me about an hour to get it to work. But the only two games I still own for that are, of course, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time and Diddy Kong Racing.
Okay,
I've been playing Zelda. It's driving me crazy because every time I'm like, I know I need to do this because I've played this game before, so I'm running towards it. And Navi's like, hey, but you gotta go here. And I'm like, I know that.
Stop it. You stop it. I remember specifically, I never had it in 64, but my cousins who were like my brothers that lived like 3 houses down had it. And so I remember every like holiday when we would like spend like weeks at their house, just in the living room, like when we got permission to move it from like the playroom to the living room TV and play on the bigger screen, which was like not a big screen. Looking back
that's a big deal.
But I just remember specifically laying in the living room, and I like couldn't get out of like the forest on the first level. And I think it might have been, it was either Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, but I think it might have been Ocarina. But I like got out of like your little.
It has to be Ocarina.
I got out of like my little tree house thingy and was like trying to go around, and there's like this boulder monster thing, and I'm like, and my cousins were like, you're so bad at this. I was like, I know. Can I just go to the town and break some pots and chase some chickens? But the thing I was good at was playing the music. You know, should have known I was going to be a band nerd. I was like, yes, up, up, down, side, up, up. And they're like, how do you have that memorized? And I was a trumpet player, so literally it was just my 3 keys and playing it,
So we got our 64 for Christmas when I was like 3 years old. I was like 3 or 4. Either way, I couldn't read yet, and neither could my older brother. So I want to say I was 3 because then he was 4, and that makes a little more sense. Yeah. So we couldn't read, and my dad had to play it for us and read it to us. And so I just remember when I was a kid, Dad would come home and we'd like scream at him like, you gotta play Zelda, we gotta go. And then it was great. And I had no idea that he had the guidebooks. I just thought my dad was amazing. I was like, he's doing all these things. This is crazy. No, he cheated the whole time. But
yeah, well, I mean,
it's a good memory.
You get some good brownie points for that, yeah. I remember playing...
And the coolest thing about having all of like the old stuff from when I was a kid is I opened that Zelda game and my dad's save file is still on it.
Oh,
how cute is that?
I would have love it. Sobbed just seeing that.
I did get a little bit emotional.
I remember we played Smash Brothers a lot, and I really enjoyed that. We played Star Fox a lot, and I would always be so mad at what's his name, Flippy.
Star Fox is so good.
Flippy, Lippy, Sippy, I don't know. He's like, do a barrel roll, and I could never do a barrel roll. I could not figure out how to do it for the longest time.
Too.
And he was like, do a barrel roll, and I was like, I can't. And my cousin would be like, you need to be done playing the game because I was so It's like you just like hold the joystick over a little extra longer.
Yeah, but like you don't know.
4-year-old Bridget could not get that down, and I was like, I can't do a barrel roll, and I would like miss a ring, and I would be really upset about it. And then there'd always be like the level when you're in space, and it like gave me anxiety. But my favorite thing to do, and we found this out in college too, because my roommate Taylor, she had her in 64, and she had this game still. Pokemon Stadium arcade games, all day long.
Ooh.
Clefairy's Egg Drop, like that is my jam. I love the simple little arcade games.
I'm gonna say something controversial right now. Best Nintendo 64 game, Banjo Kazooie. Everyone can fight me. Super fun. Anyone can play it. Excellent story. To this day holds up. If I find a copy of that, your girl gonna get it. And she gonna play it for hours.
So my cousins never had Banjo Kazooie, and I think my friend's little brother had it on PlayStation. And so I remember him playing it. PlayStation or GameCube, one of those. But I remember him playing it. And I remember it had great music. But
it did. It's so good.
That's all I got. I never played that one.
It's all about looking for your little sister who was a big dumb idiot and got taken by the bad guy. And every time you lose, she gets like turned into an ugly voodoo doll. And it's sad.
I didn't realize that was the sister.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
My sad sister. Yeah, it's your sister.
Oh no.
And she's the beauty of the village, and you gotta go find your sister because she's getting herself into trouble. And I keep waiting for someone to like remake Banjo Kazooie because they remake old games all the time.
Didn't they redo it a few years ago? I thought they did.
If they did, I have no idea.
I thought
and, I need it. Somebody. I need it.
Banjo Kazooie returns to Nintendo hardware this week. Yeah. So it's now, I think they added it to Switch.
Are you serious?
That's what this says. Arrives January 20th. And so tomorrow. Lauren, Banjo Kazooie is coming to Nintendo Switch. I was like, when is this published?
So excited.
It was published today.
Oh my god! What a crazy coincidence! I'm so excited! Okay, well, I'm gonna be playing Banjo-Kazooie for the next several weeks. Very excited.
Banjo's a bear? I didn't know he was
he's a bear. And Kazooie's like a little toucan-looking dude, and he lives in his backpack and helps him fly.
Okay, so the graphics look very different from when I remember it, because Banjo-Kazooie was definitely more like orange-looking and very pointy, and now he actually looks like a bear. He's a bear?
Graphics have come a really far way. Like, I was playing Banjo-Kazooie in 1996, so... Think about it.
Isn't that insane that you said that and it's literally coming out tomorrow on Switch?
I can't believe that just happened.
That article was posted an hour ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm magic. 2022, I am magic. Welcome.
Bonkers.
Holy crap.
I guess I must have saw it on Facebook or Twitter today, and that's why I was like, didn't they do that? But I thought it was old news, but it's today news.
Oh my gosh. I cannot believe that just happened. That's amazing. I'm gonna buy it tomorrow. I'm very excited about Banjo-Kazooie. Oh my gosh. Oh, speaking of crazy news, have you heard of this When We Were Young festival that's gonna be in Las Vegas?
I've got bad news for you. It's from the same people that did Astroworld.
I don't believe it's going to be good. I was initially very excited, and then I read the fine print and realized it's a one-day festival with 60 bands, which is really stupid.
How are you supposed to go see all of them?
You're not. And there's only 3 stages. There's no way they can play more than like 15 minutes because they have to set up and break down.
So that's why TikTok is like listening to 2-second sets of every band before sprint. Yeah, how do you do that?
It doesn't make sense, and it looks really dumb. And I was really excited, but now that I've actually thought about it,
so yeah, that's.
I know.
Why
But
aren't
also,
they doing it like a South by, or not South, an ACL kind of festival?
it should, if it was a 2-day festival, I'm
Or
going.
or a
I'm all in.
weekend, like do a Friday night,
Anything.
then Saturday all day, Sunday all day.
I also probably would be more desperate to go if I wasn't seeing Mei Chang the month before. And
Yeah.
I mean that's the big draw for me. But I'm gonna see a whole show of just them, and I'm okay with that. I don't need the others now. But I'm disappointed because my excitement initially was so hype, and then I was like, oh no, though this is bad. We don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, that poster is all over all of my social media walls.
It's everywhere.
But yeah, I saw like TikTok breaking it down last night, and I was like, I thought everybody was excited about this, so I just kind of scrolled past it. It was just people being negative, and now this makes sense.
Who knows? Maybe they'll add an extra day. They'll take all the criticism and be like, "Oh, they're right," or they'll just it'll go up in flames, and we shall see.
Yeah, everybody keeps calling it the new Fire Festival.
I know.
I hope we get a good documentary out of it. Oh, you're like, I hope it's not. I'm like, give me a doc.
You're like, I want it to burn. Let's go. Yeah.
No, I mean, kind of. Sometimes, if it leads to a good documentary series, kind of into it. I just watched a Beanie Baby documentary, and it was great.
I'm watching Cheer season 2 right now.
The drama.
Don't tell me anything.
I won't. It's so good.
I just got to coronavirus hitting them. Oh, so sad.
Sad.
We're about to start the Jerry episode. That's just entitled.
It's just
Jerry.
titled
and I'm
Jerry.
Like, yeah.
Let me tell you, they handled that episode really, really well, though.
I thought they've handled the entire season leading up to it really well too, because they haven't cut him out of the story, but they don't focus on him at all. And I am interested to see what they have to say.
You see how they handle Jerry, and they make sure that the victims get their time to talk, and they don't. I mean, it's cool. It's handled very professionally and very well done for the victims. And man, yeah, the corona, like, they're counting down to Daytona, and you know what's about to happen.
A week left. And
yeah,
you're just like, there's no way they're gonna go. And then freaking, they end the episode with, what's her name, Morgan, being like, yeah, and that was it. I'm not a cheerleader anymore. Like, that's the end of my career. And I was like, I know. My whole heart just shatters for her. It's so sad.
But you highlight these two girls, Jill and her roommate. I can't think of her roommate's name. But they're the most adorable little friendship in the world. Like, Jill has, like, such a rough life, and, like, her friend and her friend's family just, like, completely adopt her into their life. And I was like, it's so sweet.
I'm excited to see the new cheerleaders that get their time now that the old ones have stepped down. And I also thought they've so far done a really good job with that, too, because they're not focusing too much on all of the same people.
Yeah.
They're, like, giving you
you still
and a new team, and it's really cool.
You still get Gabby, but at the same time, it's not like just
but
Gabby.
Not really.
Like last time.
Yeah, like they talk about Gabby, but it's more people just talking about them than actually them, which I thought was interesting. And you have a lot more Monica this season than we did last season.
Yeah,
and I like that.
I like Monica,
and I love Coach Fonte too. I love him. I love him.
I love that we get to see so much more of TBCC. Yeah, it really just shows you the top two people of the cheer world and that dynamic and how hard they have to work to try and beat each other. And
it's crazy.
And Navarro just holding that title for so long is just insane. And that the fact that they never had that title until Monica built it, like.
I'm stoked to watch the rest of it.
It's great.
I have to work at 4 tomorrow, so I'm pretty much going to bed right after we finish this. I know, I'm an old lady. No, I guess we should jump into this, huh?
Yeah, maybe we should. I mean, that was Bridget and Lauren's binging life.
It's been a while since we've seen each other. We have to talk about TV and video games. That's what me and Bridget do. So we have a whole podcast about it, obviously. So here we are. So for this episode, we just finished all of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. You got our real-time thoughts, but now we've had time to process it. And I wrote out a list of favorite things and some important questions that I thought we could answer now that we've sat with it for a while.
You
and
could
then
say
I
these
have.
are a few of our favorite things.
I hate love you so much. And then I wrote down a couple of things that I didn't get to tell you about the anime initially as we were going through it, just like the
cool.
history of it and stuff. So we can kind of go over that once we're done with our thought vomit, and then we're gonna roll for a new anime today.
I'm like
Very
nervous
exciting.
and excited for that. Nervous and excited because you always
So
it's always that nervousness of like you finish a show and you love it so much that you don't want to start another show. That's what I feel like right now. Like, will I love it as much as this?
Luckily, I've watched most of the animes on this list, and now that we've watched Fullmetal, all the ones that I've seen are mostly just as good. There's a couple on there that are not just as good, but I think are fun. But they're. I don't think we're gonna get a bad one, if that makes sense. Like, we're not gonna roll one that's gonna be a stinker. Unless it's Hunter x Hunter, because I've never seen it, and I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it.
I don't know. So many people love Hunter x Hunter, so I have good hope on that.
I have watched a few episodes. Like, I've watched, like, maybe 4 episodes, and I just could not get in it. So I'm really kind of hoping we're not rolling that today. It is on the list, so I do plan on watching it. I know, we're probably gonna roll it. But anyway, I know we talked about this at the beginning of the podcast, but just to reiterate how we're going to go about this to Michelle, who's the only person.
Michelle and Sam, thank y'all.
Yeah, Michelle and Sam. I'm sorry, Sam. I didn't mean to throw you out of here.
Yeah.
But just to make sure that we're all on the same page, I have written a list of 20 animes. Some of them are standalone. Some of them have seasons. So Bridget is going to take a 20-sided die, and she's going to roll a number. I have put all the animes into a randomizing list. They are in a random order, and whatever number that she rolls with her new cool little koi die. There you go.
Got koi fish in it.
The anime we're going to watch, and then if it doesn't have a season 2 or season 2 is still in the works, Bridget gets to replace it with her own anime, and then next time I'll roll, and etc., etc. So that's how that's going to work. But until then, let's talk about Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood and how we felt about it. Are you ready, Bridget?
Yes. Maybe.
Alright, so I wrote out 8 questions. I'm going to read the questions real quick. And these are just top favorites. I guess they're not questions. I wrote out 8 favorites that we had to answer. And I'm going to read those out real quick. Yeah. And then we will go through them together and argue with each other. It'll be really fun.
Yeah.
So the first is favorite opening theme. The second, favorite ending theme. 3 is favorite team, like Team Mustang, the Greedling Squad, the Briggs Boys, your team up, like all that. Your favorite homunculus / sin, favorite villain, favorite strong A woman, because there's so many in this and we love it. Your favorite character overall, and then your favorite Elric brother, which I felt had to stand alone. And those are our 8 favorites. So we're going to start at number 1, which is our favorite opening theme. For me, it was the first opening 1, again, by you. It's a bop, man.
It is.
I love it so much. Is that one yours too?
So okay. Mine's a little more complicated. All right, here we go. It's like 2 paragraphs.
Oh dear Lord!
I told you I struggled so much with the first 2 questions, and maybe it's because I'm a music nerd, but it was really difficult. Okay, my first sentence is this is really hard. Okay, I love Again by You, which is episodes 1 through 14's opening. So I really love it because it's so up. Like, when I think of Fullmetal, that's what I think of for the intro. But a really close second is Golden Time Lover by Tsukima Switch, which is episodes 27 through 38. Okay. So the visuals for Again, because I was thinking of visuals too, because they're paired so much in my head with the music. like, the visuals for Again are great. It's dramatic. It shows the Spunk and Ed. It's, like, the beginning of it. You know, you're not heartbroken yet. It shows the childhood. It shows the childhood flashbacks. It shows, like, them, like, getting pulled into the portal. Like, I love the, like, ribboning they do for their body disappearing.
That's my favorite part. Except for Winry really blowing in the wind. It still bothers me.
I like that because it's like she's torn between her life and the boys, and I thought really hard into it. But
it makes me laugh every time. That's all I know about it. I'm just like, okay, Winry, you don't have to be a part of this one. It's fine.
She does. So it shows, like, the Spunk and Ed, like, Al's struggle, like, it's not even Al's beginning struggle. Like, the beginning of Al just wanting to be able to, like, taste food or sleep. And it just is, like, a beginning little dot to some issue that echoes so much more. Ho is just still this mysterious guy in this intro that we have no idea who he is when we hear Again, which, like, bothered me for so long. And then Scar and the homunculi are still the big bad. Like, Scar's really mysterious still. And it's just so clean and upbeat, and I really love the vocals. Now with Golden Time Lover, this is where I'm feeling immense heartache. Everything has gone wrong. Everything feels like your lowest point, and, like, it's Ed laying in the grass with flowers because he had just gone through the portal, seen Al's body, can't take Al's body, and is, like, screaming that he'll be back, that he promises he'll be back, and then is, like, you know, wrestling with that while fighting these people that want to kill him and the world. You know, they've lost people close to him. They show you Mustang with Maze and the flashbacks of that. And the Owl's on this journey of whether or not to continue living, because this is when he starts, like, going unconscious and going back on the other side. And Father's now introduced, and we know who Ho is, and they're, like, showing that they're two sides of the same coin, because we've learned now that Ho is a philosopher's stone, kind of a homunculi. But, I mean, it's just, like, they're both so different, and they're both very good representations of the anime as a whole, and I bought them both. So, I bought all the openings, but those are, like, my number one played.
It's like, well, you can't choose them all. Two I will accept.
Two. I got two.
Is fine.
Okay.
And, you know, those are, I agree with those. The first one, obviously, but I agree with the other one, too. Favorite ending theme. I didn't go deep into any of these. I just chose them, so my apologies. I chose the ending number 2, Let It All Out by Miho Fukuhara, because I was like, heck yeah.
That is not on my list. That is not on
my list. It's my favorite because of that one time that it matched up perfectly with Winry sobbing, and then
yeah, that was a really good one.
I was like, oh my. So that's my favorite.
Okay.
There you go.
So I have 2.
No.
I have 2, and then I have one that is not my favorite closing song, but it was my favorite visuals.
Well, going forward, you're not allowed to do this again. Just so you know. This is the only anime you get it.
You have told me that multiple times in life, and I have ignored that every time. So,
well, going forward, we're going to have a season that only has 2, so you can't choose both of them.
Well, this one had multiple. Okay, so Uso, or USO, I don't know, by Sid, S-I-D.
That's a good one.
So, I'm not a big fan of the visuals. It's episodes 1 through 14. I'm not a big fan of the visuals in there because it's the little kid drawings, and I'm like, meh.
I thought it was so cute. I love that.
I think it is good at showing that these are kids this is happening to, but it's just not my favorite ending, like the yellow paper. It's just kind of like on My Hero when they have those visuals of the drawings. It's not my favorite. But it was like that song is like a nice breath of fresh air after an episode.
My favorite My Hero ending too, so I'm just gonna sit here silently until I cry. I could sing that song straight up.
I like the song.
Anyway,
it's just the visuals. So it makes me feel calm, and like no matter what was happening, like you know that the like internal core of the boys are good, and you're gonna get through this. Second one for me was Shunkin Sentimental by Scandal, which is episode 39 through 50s. Because it was our longest outro, and it was when the craziest things were happening, and it was super upbeat and like electric guitar rock, and the visuals are because it's really just you rushing through that tunnel and then you get a few at the end. But they incorporated it really well into some episodes. Like there's one, I can't remember. It's Roy Mustang, and I think it's when he's throwing that note that we've seen pass through all of Team Mustang, and he throws it into the fire, and it like he's like walking down the sidewalk, and they start playing it while he's still saying dialogue, and it just like I'm like hyped, I'm like punching the air, I'm like ready to rock and roll, and like that like.
It's a good ending.
I really love it. It gets me really hyped. Like I want to play that as like my Rocky montage running up the stairs or something.
Do it.
Do
it. No one's stopping you. I want to see that. Let's go.
Absolutely not. I will fall. Third, it's not my favorite song outro, but it is my favorite visual outro because all of these have been like I didn't really care for the visuals.
Three.
It's not the song. So it's Ray of Light by Shoko Nakagawa. Episode 51 through 60s, only because it sums up everything you've just watched in the visuals. I don't care for the music.
Going into this, that you had 2, and then you just gave me 3.
But it's not the music.
You can only have 2.
It's just
Choose
the art.
2.
No, that's
Choose 2. Drop 1.
And I love that it gives me the Ed and Winry relationship visual that I don't really get to see. You have to drop 1.
I don't care.
I told you my 2 favorite ending themes. This is just I like.
And that's it.
Okay, well, I'm just saying you get to see Ed and Winry together, and Winry's watching Ed sleep, and it gives me a little bit of peace. There you go.
You're Brett.
I know.
All right, number 3 is favorite team. I chose the Mustang Squad because they're all classically good, and they're really the most fun to watch. I struggled with this one a lot. But I thought Mustang Squad, I was the happiest when they were reunited. I had the most fun watching them interact with each other, and every time they were off of the screen together, I was always wondering when they would come back together. Like, I just liked their dynamics so much, so I think overall, even though I love all of the different team-ups, Mustang's original squad is my favorite.
So, for me, this was hard because, like, the squads adjust a lot. Like, the Greedling squad, I think about when it's Ed, Greedling, and the 2 Chimeras, and not necessarily the Greedling squad we are first introduced to.
That's who I was thinking of.
Okay.
Well, that would just be the Greed squad. The Greedling is the Ed
good
Chimera
point.
squad.
So I really liked them, but I think my favorite has to be the Briggs boys, because I really loved their relationship. Like, Greedling was really close second because I loved Greedling, and I
did too.
Him and Ed, and the Chimeras like won me over so much. But I think it has to go to Briggs. Like Olivier, I love Major General Olivier, and then Major Miles. Really liked Major Miles, especially at the end when him and Scar are working to rebuild. Buccaneer was one of the most intense deaths and really upsetting. Like, especially him with what's his name, and golly, that was just like a double whammy, literally. But Lord, that was really rough. But I loved also when the Briggs boys also incorporated at the very end Alex, Sig, and Izumi. And they were just like, I felt like they were really unstoppable. I mean, Olivier, like, rallied together, basically turned all these Central soldiers into more Briggs boys, and then Alex is following her lead, and then Izumi and Sig are like, well, her and Izumi were just, like, best friends immediately, and they're amazing and will destroy everyone, and I don't know. So I'd have to say Briggs boys. Yeah.
I was really close to picking Briggs, but the more I thought about Mustang, I just love that every promise he made to his men he kept.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know if Mustang would have been the best Führer. Like, no. I would probably have voted for
with that mustache?
Major Armstrong. No. Olivier General Armstrong, I'm sorry. I would have had her be the Führer, because she proved it during that last battle that she was the best
so
choice.
level-headed, yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
But I loved Mustang's squad, and I loved their relationship, so I had to go with them, even though I love the Briggs boys so much. I was devastated when Buccaneer died.
Yeah, that was
but
I think the only thing that
good.
stopped me from choosing Mustang Squad, because, you know, I'm a big Hawkeye Mustang shipper, was that one dude. What? I know.
What?
That one dude at the radio station where he's like, guess we have to turn the blame on Olivier. And I was like...
Oh, Bretta. Yeah. He...
Oh, that such a sour taste in my mouth.
He did a necessary evil. I think that's also why I like Mustang Squad, though, is because they're not all good. Like, Briggs, they're gonna go for the greater good regardless. Mustang Squad is gonna work kind of for themselves, and I liked that character dynamic. It was more interesting for me.
I did really love Mustang Squad in the beginning when it was Maria Ross and what's his name, and they were in charge of Alex and Ed. I mean, not Alex, Al and Ed.
Would they be Mustang Squad or would they be Armstrong Squad?
I guess they were Armstrong Squad at that point, and
a Hughes Squad, because Hughes and Armstrong and Ross and Danny, I can't remember Danny's last name.
I never can remember that kid. Remember when I thought he was a complete
Well, I know his first name is Danny right now, but you know, that guy.
Roche!
I guess
Roche!
They were... Thank you. They were, I think they were Hughes Squad.
Okay.
Technically.
Well,
that's my final answer.
The whole, like, Mysterious Fifth Laboratory arc is one of my favorite arcs, with them and trying to watch Ed and Al, and that's where I loved Ross and Broche, and that's why the whole Ross fake death was incredibly tragic. Yeah.
Sheesh.
Golly. A lot of emotional recoil from that still. Golly.
Alright, well, next favorite. Your favorite homunculus. I'm pretty sure that you all know that mine is Greed.
Mine's Greed.
Obviously.
It's always going to be Greed.
Hands down, he is the best homunculus. I love him.
But Greed 1 or Greed 2? Choose.
Greed 2. Who do you think I am?
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
You liked Greed when he was Greed 1 also, so I was
but then he became Wing, and I was like, no, I'm here for it.
That's what I was like, Greed, always gonna be Greed, specifically Greed 2. Like, love seeing Greed. Him on that arc of finding his humanity through Ling, and them being, like, the perfect, like, Jekyll and Hyde partnership, like...
So good. It sold it for me whenever he was like, everyone has greed, everyone wants things.
Yeah,
and he was inherently bad, and I was
it's how you act on it, and I was like,
so good. I love him.
My close second for no
it's Envy, isn't it?
No,
it's Envy, isn't it?
It was Gluttony for sounding like Pooh Bear, for being so dumb.
Gosh.
I can't get over it.
Is obviously Pride. I'm kidding. Oh, my Pride ring bruised me the other day. Like,
it snags on things real hard and hurts.
And I took it off and I got a little bruise and I was like, evil. But it made me happy because it made sense.
It's very appropriate. Yes.
It was good. All right. Well, that was too easy a question. So we're gonna move on to our fifth favorite, which is your favorite villain.
So this is where I go back and forth on this. Like, so villain started as a villain. I liked Scar because I really love a villain arc turns into heroes. Like Scar struggling with that inner turmoil and not learning how to not let hate consume you, even though it's justified and you have every right. But learning how to forgive, but not forget. But kind of keeping what happened at the forefront of your mind, but helping people learn from it for the better good. Like, really love that. But Envy was such a close second because I really loved Envy's fights. Envy was like your main villain for such a long time. When Envy turned into that green lizard thing, loved it. I love that animation, and it has one of the most tragic defeats. They
so sad.
The fact that they
reason. They did not need to go that hard.
It was like I was mental and emotional defeat. Like they were physically defeating Envy because Roy. That's when Roy loses himself. But they beat him down with the emotion, and so I was like, close second. But I love a villain to hero arc, so Scar was my favorite.
Scar was great. I was close to Scar. The only villain, I think all the villains were done really well. The only villain I was just not going to choose was Father, because yeah, he was there, but he was always kind of in the background. Like you get just enough of him to know that he is the ultimate bad guy. It's kind of like AFO. Like I would never say that, or AFO.
Yes.
Yeah, AFO.
I do every time.
Out of my brain.
All for one for like all for one.
Like, yeah, he's there. He's the big bad, but I'm gonna choose Shigaraki over him every time because Shigaraki is the face of it. You know what
exactly,
I mean?
Like the big bad that uses other people to branch out and fight, and they never actually do it, except for that one fight with All Might that I sobbed through every time.
Exactly.
But yeah,
but I obviously chose Fury King Bradley.
He's a great villain.
There's a lot of depth to the character, and first of all, easily the best voice actor in either show was Fury King Bradley. Very closely followed by Ling Yao for me. Those voice actors were excellent, so maybe that's kind of what sold the character, but there's just too many layers to the Fuhrer. Like, he was just a kid who was forced into this thing that he doesn't necessarily regret, but then he knows and understands that he missed out on all of this for some greater purpose. And he really is just the perfect soldier. And I don't know, I really vibed with Fury King Bradley. He was very close to being my favorite character, but he's not. So, I know! It was so close to being my favorite character, just because every time he was on screen, I was excited.
He was an amazing villain. Very complicated, because you don't think he's a villain either in the beginning, because he's so charismatic. Like, there's something up, but I remember for the longest time, I thought he was getting a redemption arc, and then at the end, it just proves how truly evil he was, and I was like, ah!
And it was done so well that the second that he, officially turned, whenever he goes to kill Greed, and he's talking to the boys, just remember that I know the people you love. And if you had done this on purpose, you would be dead by now. And I was like, huh.
When he's sitting in that room with Winry, and you're like,
yes, yeah. And it's so good. He does so well. And they made villain. An evil man without having him be predatory towards women, and I can appreciate that.
If anything, he was way more respectful towards women, which is really awesome of
really
a villain.
Weird. I loved it. He's so good.
That's a good villain. Yeah, I agree. That's a good villain.
It's. So yeah, Fury King Bradley, R.I.P. He got my heart. So close to having my full heart, but
your
not
Fullmetal
yet.
Heart.
Yes. All right. Our sixth favorite. Our favorite strong A woman.
Okay, so my first sentence says, "How can I choose just one?"
You can only have one. I'm not letting you have multiple for this one.
All right, here are my runners-up. My runner-ups. Olivier and Hawkeye, because I love them. They're my runner-ups. Okay. Olivier had to learn a little bit of softness, so that's where I was like, maybe, I don't know. And then Alex helped her with that at the very end. But her dedication to her men, awesome. Hawkeye had an amazing balance of love and I'll shoot you if I have to. And I really loved that. And her loyalty to Mustang, I loved it. But Izumi Curtis, that is my number one. I loved her. I loved how amazingly hard she was on the boys, but at the same time, she was a mother figure. Like, that whole scene where they explain that they did human transmutation, and she's hugging them, and they're just saying, "I'm sorry," and she's like, "Stop saying I'm sorry, and just let me hug you." That's the moment where I was like, I love her. I love no matter what she does. And her and Sig's relationship, she can be strong. She can be the strongest, biggest, best fighter, and then she can be so sweet and kind and loving with Sig. And I love that romantic relationship. And then I loved her. And I love that she always was like, I'm just a housewife. I'm just a housewife. So humble, but anybody could be this. It's all how she learned and was trained. And I love the running joke of her fighting the bear up at Briggs too. So Izumi Curtis, that's my number one.
Hey, guess what? We agree. She is
Yeah!
also my favorite strong woman. I think Izumi is really special. She's a special character because I think with feminine characters, particularly in anime, whenever they have a woman character that they want to be strong, they give her all strength, but they don't realize that part of being a woman, showing your strength, also means you know when to be soft.
Yeah.
And that's it, they just do it so well, and it's a really special thing, and I think part of that is because we had a female author.
Writer. Yeah,
it's a female led show.
Balance. Yeah,
and she's perfect. Everything you said, I 10,000% agree with. Izumi Curtis for the win.
And I love that she could show some cleavage and not be like super sexualized. Like she was very feminine, but at the same time,
just comfortable.
She will beat you down. Like I love that balance. That's constantly my struggle. Is like the masculine fighting the feminine, but she blends them. Like you can have both. Like.
And she does it all while wearing house shoes. And
her water closet slippers, yes. And especially in Texas, the fact that she used those slippers, the chancla, as a weapon, like, great representation there. Yes. Love
Alright, are you ready? Are you ready for the big two?
No.
Alright. So, this is not the biggest one, but the second to the biggest one. Our seventh favorite, our favorite character. Go ahead, Bridget. Tell me who your favorite character is.
So there's only one sentence in my sheet because I deleted everything. It was just like, well, I'll wing it. Because I couldn't. Okay. I'm struggling. I don't know. I don't like choosing just one because it changes all the time. But I love Ed. I think my favorite one. I'm a big main character energy kind of person. Like I gravitate towards people that have main character energy. And so I think I have to choose Ed, especially with his struggle, and I see a lot of myself in him sometimes where I want to take it all on myself, and until I like drove into the ground, me at work right now, but I don't know. I'm just gonna have to say Ed, but it's because I get the most detail on his life and story, and I am one of those people that want all the details. So I get that. I think it's Ed. Also, look how handsome he turns out. Love him.
Yeah, he's so cute. I love him. I was close. Ed was on my list too. I had a top 3 for sure, and it was Ed, King Bradley, and of course my actual favorite character, Ling Yao, who I called. Yeah, we all knew this. We all knew this was my favorite character. But Ling is another very special character because he doesn't necessarily use his strength to be strong. He uses his heart, and what motivates him is the want to create a better place for his people, and I think that's really lovely. Like, he was so good, he turned a sin good.
He had a great growth arc. Come on. And him talking to Mei Chang at the end, like, showing that character growth is just...
And just the mercy of it, of like, I have this, but you do too. Like, you're part of this. And it was... And the voice actors for Ling are so good. And I knew that coming in because he's Ryuji, and I love Ryuji. And I was talking to someone at work the other day because we just realized that we both loved anime, and I was like, yeah, I have a podcast, we're watching Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and she's like, oh my gosh, who's your favorite character? I'm like, Ling Yao, I love him, I love his voice actor, and she goes, he's my favorite voice actor, he's done all of this, and I was like, and we had a moment, it was really beautiful. I was like, I know he has, it was great.
Aww.
I loved it.
I think,
so Ling Yao,
I had some good runner-ups, like, Al, of course, was one because I love Al's
he's lovely.
journey and, you know, how selfless he was. Alex Armstrong, like, oh my gosh, Alex Louise Armstrong is a beautiful man and there's nothing wrong. And he was also that crazy balance of big, like, amazing muscles and huge dude, but also the most sensitive dude in the show. And I love that balance. I think that's
perfect.
also because we had a female writer. And, like, I love a big, strong, burly man that is emotional. Because I'm emotional. And the fact that in the middle of the war, he walked out because he couldn't face to do these evil terrors anymore. That's when I was like, I love this man. That's why I bought the hardcover of the anime book that has him as the cover. Because I love that man. That's like my ideal man. Big, buff, muscly, and super soft inside. Oh, it's my favorite. And
he's very well done too.
And Mei Chang was one of my ones I really had to consider because she went through so much as a young girl, but also was so open-minded and optimistic that I loved that. And she was really an amazing character that we only got introduced through midway, and she easily became one of my top favorites.
Scar was definitely on my short list too. Just because the entire show, he just becomes a completely different person. And,
like every episode he changes. It's great.
And I like that he never lets go of his anger. He just kind of moves past it.
He learns how to, like, harness it for good. Yeah, it's the whole forgive but don't forget. Yeah. I like that. Oh, gosh. But these characters are really well done.
And here's our last big one. And I guess I know yours because I know your favorite character now. But who's your favorite Elric brother?
I wrote, no, I will not choose.
I chose Alphonse.
I knew you would. But I was like, no.
Alphonse is too good for this world.
I know.
And even though I would choose Ed over him in a contest for my favorite character, Alphonse is my favorite Elric brother because through this entire show, he has been nothing but a bright light of positivity,
when he got dealt the worst
and forgiveness.
Yeah.
Whenever it was cemented for me whenever he sees Ho and forgives him instantly because that's his father and you can tell that he's hurting. That destroyed me. And I was like, you know what? You're a perfect child and I love him and I'm so happy everything worked out for Alphonse. He's perfect and we love Alphonse and we love that he loves Mei Chang because no one deserves Alphonse except for Mei Chang. I know. I love it. I'm good.
I don't know. Like I just wrote in all caps, no, I will not choose because I was thinking like, you know, Alphonse was like so supportive and like selfless and like literally got dealt the worst hand, but at the same time Ed was on the opposite spectrum and was so ruthless and fighting for him no matter what. Like it'd be multiple times he was trying to lay down his life just to save Al. So they were like the same coin, two sides of the same coin of just like they were both good. I could not choose. They're so different. I love them both so much. Like, would I marry Ed? Absolutely. But would I be in love with Al? Absolutely. I don't know. It's just really complicated. Brother wives, you know.
This is the only time that is an acceptable answer, so we're good.
Maybe if there were three of them, I could choose one over all of them, but just these two, I was like,
two. Yeah.
They're both so good. I can't, no. The thing that went through my head was from Doctor Who, when he's like, take the ears off. He's like, no, I shan't. That's I shan't. I will not.
I just this one time I accept that. Don't get too comfortable with it.
I won't, but this one I literally like cried. I can't.
Well, I accept you're not choosing. They're both great. It's a hard thing. I get it. I'm a little more callous than you are when it comes to that, so it's easier for me. And I get that, and I'm okay with that. But overall, I think Ed is a better character with better growth and development, but Alphonse was always great, and that's why he doesn't have as much growth.
Yeah, because
that's okay.
Amazing.
But it's harder to really form a connection with that because he started out great and just stayed great, and then Ed needed the growth, so you you fall in love with him along the way. So that's why I think he's a better character, but Alphonse is my favorite brother.
I mean, I also am really attracted to scars, so, like, I mean, Ed, I don't know.
Respect. I get it. All right, we're going to move on to our questions now. These questions are probably going to be the questions that I ask for every anime that we watch. Give or take a few, we'll throw some in whenever. So, I mean, obviously we'll change the anime that we're asking about. But, remember these questions. I think these are good questions to ask. So, my first question is, what have you learned from watching Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, if anything?
Okay, so it's kind of what we just discussed, that you don't have to be the villain even when life gives you the worst hands, and also never give up hope. I love that the never give up hope thing was such a common theme. Even when it was the darkest, like, even when Ed gave up hope, like, when he was like, absolutely not. You don't tell me to leave. You go save the world. You're the only one who can do this. Go do it. And, like, so sometimes he needed that reminder, but that was always the theme. And, like, there's the quote when they were in, what's it called? The Sun City, when Ed's talking to Rose. And he says, stand up and walk. Keep moving forward. You've got 2 good legs, so get up and use them. Lior, yeah. And he says, cool. You're strong enough to make your own path. And I love that. And there's also another quote, and I couldn't find where it's from, and the internet couldn't find where it's from either, but everybody collectively says Ed says this at some point, so we'll see. But it's how can you move forward if you keep regretting the past? He
says that to Scar. I remember that very clearly. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so I love that because, everybody's got issues and everybody deals with things in the past. And I definitely am not good at letting things go. And letting things go for myself. Like, I beat myself up for things. And it's why I'm so funny. But self-deprecation at its best. But I just really love that hope and that you don't have to be the villain even if life tries to make you the villain.
I like that. There's a lot to learn from this show because all the characters are so well thought out. But I think what really hit me the most was that you have to hold yourself accountable for the things that you do, even if you do them out of love, because they don't always have good consequences. Because literally everyone in this show has a fault to where they did something bad, but it was because they loved someone or they were afraid, and
that's literally how the show was created, with them trying to get their mom back.
Like, even if you do things for a good reason, they don't always turn out well, and you have to hold yourself accountable for the people you hurt and what you destroy, essentially. That was a really extreme word, but you get what I mean.
That's pretty accurate for the show.
Yeah. Another thing I really loved is I think that it really talks a lot about how your parents aren't perfect. Like, no matter how you see your parents, they are people, and you have to accept them for what they are, even if you can't forgive them for what they've done.
Yeah, nobody had perfect parents in this show, and I think that was great.
It's a really cool thing to teach, particularly children. Not that I would necessarily say this is a children-forward show.
I might let my kid watch it. I don't know.
Yeah, I probably would. I started watching it when I was like 13, which I think is an appropriate age to watch this.
Yeah, middle school, but, I think this is a good age for them.
It's an interesting thing to show that you don't have to forgive your parents. I think that's really cool, because that's a choice that you have. Just because someone had you doesn't mean that you have to forgive them for what they've done to you.
They're a person, and you have to build relationships with them too. Yeah, like
I also love that regardless of everything in your life, you'll always have your siblings, because you do. Like, it's a different kind of bond. It's like a friend that you kind of hate, but you love forever.
Yeah, you kind of hate, you love forever, and you can, like, mess with them, but if anybody messes with them, you take them. Like, siblings are like these friends. I don't know, they're the closest people you'll get, and I don't know. I was just talking about that about my brother.
Yeah. Like, I think the the sweetest thing that a friend can ever tell you is that you're like a sibling to them, and I'm like, but I think that what this show does for family dynamic and how it tells you that, you know, not every family has to look
The same.
like A, B, and C. It's nice, and I like found family because I have a lot of my own, so it's just nice. It's a good little messages everywhere. Good show, super
Stop,
sweet.
Lawrence, you're gonna make me cry.
Stop! I love
Gosh,
you.
I love you. I mean, it's just like your husband says when I'm like, I don't know what to do or like how to express words well, and so I just like send you all these gifts. Like, I'm like, I love you, okay?
And I love it. I get it. Me too, man. I'm not good at words. It's fun.
It's hard.
Okay,
my brother is
okay.
such an owl, and I am such an Ed. So when you were saying that, I was just like, oh, this is crazy. Yeah, I mean,
I think I am the owl to my older brother's Ed, and it's a lot. But also, it's not because he's my brother. It's like a, you know, it's a thing.
I'm the hothead.
And
I'm the like, I will go out and do this, and he's more of the like, hold it in, hold it together, and I'm so yeah. I mean, it's definitely different dynamics, but I mean, I think they represent it really well that you can be different, but I mean, they're still your ride or die.
Mm-hmm. Like no matter what.
No matter.
All right,
no
I'm
matter
sorry.
What. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Stop.
Next question.
Stop.
Here we go. Next question is really easy. Would you watch it again?
I've already been watching it again, so yes.
Are you serious? That's awesome.
My brother started it, and so I was watching it, and then I was skipping through to my favorite episodes and stuff, and making myself cry, and I was like, oh. So yeah, I already did that.
I don't know if I watched it again. It was a good show, like, don't get me wrong, but it's slow. Like, there are a lot of slow moments, and it's not slow in a bad way, but it's slow in a way that, I mean, I'm not ready to jump back into it, because there's just a lot that you have to commit to. Maybe in a couple years.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, it's like when I watched My Hero, and I finished it, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it again, and it's like,
I could do that with My Hero. I can't do that with
I like this one, because it's so complicated, and there's so much emotion. Like, I even watched the Nina Alexander episode again.
I just think
I don't know why I did that.
There's a little too much build-up for me to be able to turn back around and watch it again. You know what I mean? It's less action, more build-up, which isn't bad when
until
you're watching
you get to the end
it's
when
very
it's
good.
action, and you're like,
But like when you're in it, like the first time, you need the build-up. You want the build-up. It's excellent. But now I know what happens, so it's like I don't need the build-up for this anymore.
I kind of love storytelling build-up, like when we get to slower things, you get to be more like nuanced about stuff, because everybody's least favorite season of Attack on Titan was one of my favorites, because I loved how it played politics and like...
What, season 3?
Yeah, I think that was it. The shorter season, and I was like, I really loved season 3, and everybody was
Or is it season 2? Because season 2 was like 12 episodes.
Maybe it's season... I don't know. There was one
I
that
loved season 2.
You told me that like everybody hated it, and I was like, oh, I really liked this. And you like see Titans like 4 times, and everything else is like, Eren Yeager's on trial. And I was like,
I loved season 3. I hated season 3.
Oh. I liked it.
I think maybe I just hated season 3. That's why I haven't watched season 4. Although I did promise Will I would start tomorrow.
I watched the first episode, the premiere, and I haven't watched this past Sundays, but I've already seen it being memed a lot, and I was like, yep, that's right. That's straight out of the manga.
Sweet. Love it. So excited. I guess next question. Would you pay to watch this?
I said it's worth the money. If I could own it, if I could own it at original retail price, yes, I would buy it. Now at resale price that I have seen, like I was trying to buy the manga, resale price is ridiculous because this is older. Yeah, not for resale price. It's like trying to go for like $150, and I was like, absolutely not.
I would have paid to watch it before I had watched it. So if you can't get it and you were thinking about watching it, I'd pay to watch it. I would definitely pay to read it.
I mean, I went got a library card just to check out all the manga, so worth it.
But yeah, I would pay to watch it. Next question. Would you recommend this anime to someone who wants to start watching anime?
I said yes. You have to get through some of the dark, slower episodes in the beginning, but it really is an amazing show that'll keep you on your toes if you've never watched it before, because, man, you get some nasty cliffhangers at points. But I think it has a little bit of everything in it. It's got those softness moments in the beginning and the middle that tie you in, like the whole baby birthing episode when they're in,
really cute.
What is the city called?
Rush Valley.
Rush Valley. Yeah, I mean, I think they balance a lot of life and death and action and slow, and they really get all the emotional ties in there. So I say yes, and it's got some cool history stuff in there, and it's not just like, look at me, I'm an alien fighting you in this far-off planet with this crazy hairstyle, which is normally what anime looks like to me before I started watching.
That was a full-on call-out at Dragon Ball Z. If y'all want to fight Bridget, she is ready. She is ready to fight you.
My brother started listening, and he goes, y'all really need to calm down on your Dragon Ball Z disses. And then
I like Dragon Ball Z. I said it.
Wait, he listened to the next episode, and he goes, it's really just you that needs to calm down on Dragon Ball Z. I was like, because this is my fault. I was like, yeah, it kind of is. And walk in and be like, they're still charging up. So,
thank you, little brother. I needed that. I'm gonna call you little brother now.
Little brother.
Because he's now my adopted little brother.
I used to call
thank
him
you for understanding.
I used to call him little one from Aragon.
Like, I call Ian Booger. Because he's small and sticky, or he used to be, so.
Daniel turned into...
Now he's tall and clean, and I hate it.
I always call him Nannels, because our baby cousin couldn't say Daniel, and so she'd always say Nannel, and then it stuck, and I literally, that's always what I call him. That's why I turn Nannels. Little Nannels.
I don't even know what to say.
So that's what he is to me, Nannels.
Okay. Sorry, little brother. That's a cute name. We like it.
Right!
Next question. Oh, wait, I didn't answer this. I would definitely recommend this to someone. Especially someone who hasn't watched it, because I think shonen anime and manga are just really easy to jump into, because they have a good mix of everything. It's not just action, it's not just story, it's not just, love.
I will say shonen is, very top tier, and I've only started reading other stuff. Like, I don't know who does Attack on Titan, but it's not shonen. But it was harder for me at times, and it's not as accessible for me. Like, shonen has an app that is great.
Oh no, shonen is a type of anime. Oh, it's not the app. Shonen Jump is a thing, but a shonen anime is a type of anime.
What does that mean? Look, I'm new.
I don't know exactly. A shonen anime is like an anime that's well-rounded. It's kind of action-y, but it's also got a lot of fleshed out stories. I don't know the exact definition, but I know the type, I guess.
Shonen anime are Japanese comics marketed towards young teen boys between the age of 12 and 18. Alright, well, that makes sense for us, Lauren.
Yeah. Well, I think shonens are easy for everyone to get into.
It typically has action, comedy, friendship, and tragedy occasionally. So this is your occasionally show.
But most people that I recommend anime to, I always recommend them as shonen first, because they are so well-rounded, and there's so many different genres within shonen anime that would work. And I do think that this is a great anime for anyone that would want to start watching anime. I don't necessarily know if I would have this be someone's first, though, because it is so long, and I don't know if I would recommend that to someone right off the bat. I do think it's a good one to watch, though.
Shonen literally means boy or youth. Youthful boy.
No. See, I didn't know that.
Different types of anime are shonen, shoujo, seinen, seinen, josei, josei, and kodomomuke. So, each one is targeted specifically on different population of viewers. Interesting. I did not know that. Which is
why I only read shoujos, because they are for girls, and I love so much. I have 8 shoujos sitting next to me right now that I just bought. I'll get into that later.
I'm really intrigued by this now.
But yeah, it's really cool. I'm gonna move on to the next question. What type of anime watcher do you think this is aimed at? A newbie, moderate watcher, or a pro?
I said moderate, more moderate
Mm-hmm.
because it is kind of a more of a you got to grow into it, and it does have some more like fantastical things I think that you've got to get on board with, but I'm a big Greek mythology person, so that I like those kind of things. But also, if you don't like violence or sadness,
yeah,
this is a little harder. You probably should grow that taste before you get to this. So that's kind of why I hit more of a moderate, because it does balance like normal TV show drama arcs and anime drama arcs.
See, I said this is straight up made for newbies because it doesn't hit into all of the crazy anime tropes that are just so anime. Like, it's not something that you have to be used to watching to jump in and be like, no, this is a good show. Because it's just a good show. It doesn't necessarily have to be a good anime, you know what I mean?
Well, remember,
even though it is a good anime.
There were some things in the beginning of us watching this that I was like, this bothers me. And you kept having to tell me, no, this is an anime trope. And I was like, oh. So I can't remember. I know. I was like, maybe I need to go back and listen to the first few episodes because I can't remember what it was. I think the squiggly people was something I had to get adjusted to. Weird hairstyles.
It's barely anything.
But for a new anime watcher, that visually, if you don't know how to look past that, you do get hung up on it. Because I remember it bothered me so much. So that's the only reason.
But it's not something they lean into super hard afterwards.
Is true.
Like in the first couple of episodes, they do it for sure because they're establishing something new off of something old. Yeah. So it's, it's what it is. But I think it's aimed towards newbies. If you are new and want to watch anime, or you know someone who's new and wants to watch anime, then I think it's a good anime to start with. Again, I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it to everyone because of just the things that happen in it. It can be a little disturbing.
Sadness.
But it's an excellent first anime if you can look past that because it's written by a woman.
If you could get past the Nina Alexander episode, you're set for the rest of it.
And it has really strong friendships and relationships with very little fan service, which is something that you don't get in a lot of shonen because, again, they're aimed towards little boys.
That's actually...
Yay. Yeah. And then our last question, your anime rating out of 5, what would you rate this anime?
I said I'm always really bad at ratings. I always overrate things because I don't know. I think I guilt myself in ratings. It's probably
go with your heart, man. Go with your heart.
I think I wrote 4.5 out of 5. I really loved it, but I'm also right on the high of finishing it. But I really loved this show. Like, really loved the show. The only thing that I put as it is the ending didn't satisfy me all the way because I wanted more Ed and Winry, and like midway through like season 4 or part 4, we kind of like took a break on Winry being in the show, and that it kind of hurt me because that was like the main driver of why Ed was doing a lot. I mean, it was for his brother and it was for Winry, and we like stopped seeing Winry, and so that was the only thing that really kind of made me not want to give it a 5, because at the end he does end up with Winry, and it is their perfect, unique little relationship. But I only got 2 minutes of it after finally seeing it, and how he was going to give up, and Winry was the one that drove him not to give up. She was a really big part on literally what held Ed together. Like, she made his arm and leg. Like, she was literally the glue for him and the home for him and Owl. But I did like that my final thought on it was I like that they left it in a place where if they wanted to pull like a Avatar The Last Airbender and pull like a Legend of Korra and kind of pop into the future a few years, they could easily do that, especially with like the photo they left us. And so, I mean, I kind of hope that maybe one day we could get like a little epilogue from the author. That would be really cool. I know she's working on other things, but I like the way they kind of left that open-ended there.
Gotcha.
So 4.5.
I honestly struggled with rating this. I went between a 4 and a 3.5 for a minute. I'm a little bit of a harsher scorer, but keep in mind that I've watched a lot of animes, so I already have favorites that are tucked in my brain, and I don't necessarily compare it to that, but I compare it to the way that they made me feel.
Yeah.
So I ended up giving this a 3.5 out of 5, and not because of anything awful. I just, it's an older anime. The animation is a little lacking, and that's not its fault because it's old. It's really good for the time, but the action is not the best, and it does give you really good bits of action, and then doesn't completely fail you at the end, but it really let me down.
That last fight was hard.
But overall, and it could have been better because it was written better, and that really
I'm excited to get to that.
Me.
Yeah. Because there were so many times, the fun fact was you were like, they left this and this out, and I don't know why. And I was like, huh.
And that's frustrating.
Yeah.
But I think that I love the anime. I'm not in love with the anime. It did make me go read fanfiction after. So that's
did that too.
Something.
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's a solid 3.5. Let's give it like a 3.7. I'd be fine with that too.
Okay.
But like it's just not quite a 4 for me. It's definitely not a 5. It was still very good. They did their best for it being made in 2009.
Yeah, I think
the music is excellent.
The music, God, except for that
music
one song.
Was excellent.
Except for that one closing song.
Yeah, that was an awful song.
That rap thing. My gosh.
Awful song.
We all agreed on that. Did I buy it still? Yes, because I'm a completist. But I really can't stand that song.
But those are all my questions. I do have quite a bit of fun facts. I don't know if you had anything that you wanted to go over after.
Nope, that was it. Down. Give me your fun facts.
Cool. So let's just talk about this. And again, forgive me for destroying everyone's name in this. So sorry. So this anime was obviously based off of the manga series Fullmetal Alchemist by Hiromoru Arakawa. There we go. I'm going to call her Arakawa from here on out.
She draws herself as a little cow in all of the manga notes, and it's freaking adorable.
She's cute. Hilariously, well, we'll get into that. There's a reason that she draws herself as a cow. So if you enjoyed FMA and you're looking for something a little more lighthearted, she also wrote Silver Spoon, which is a really lighthearted coming-of-age story about a high school student named Yugo Hachiken, and he moved from the city and enrolled in an agricultural school just because he didn't really get into anywhere else, and that's why she draws herself as a cow, because that was one of her first series, and he loves cows.
I love it because she draws herself as a cow with her glasses though, and it's the cutest thing.
It's excellent. So Silver Spoon is a manga. It also has an anime adaptation. There are 2 seasons of it. It was made in 2013. There is a live-action film that came out in 2014. I haven't watched it, but a lot of people love Silver Spoon, and there's a reason for that. So but even more excitingly, Arakawa, she has a new shonen manga set to release at the end of this month, at the end of January.
I think it's already the first issue started releasing because Michael's been reading it.
There you go. And it's called Yomi no Sugai, or The Underworld's Turn. And all we know about it right now is that it is a series about an imprisoned sister and her brother, and they uncover a mysterious secret of this village. So be excited for that.
I'm intrigued.
Super cool. Yeah, I'm super stoked for whenever that becomes available to us. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
So Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood was directed by gosh, I hate myself. I did not write this out phonetically either. Why do I do this? Yashiro Airi, and he was actually he was the animation director on the original Fullmetal Alchemist series. And he's also done key animation on Cowboy Bebop, Soul Eater, and the Mobile Suit Gundam OVA movie.
I've heard of all of those, so those are pretty big.
Yeah, they're all really big, and it's because Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood was also produced by Bone Studio. So if you haven't listened to our Star Wars Visions episode, Bone Studio is like a monster studio. It was established in October of 1998 by Sunrise Studios staff members. Oh gosh, I hate myself. Masahiro Minami, Hiroshi Osaka, and Toshihori Kawamoto. That's the best I've done with those. I'm very proud of myself.
And Bones also did the 3 My Hero movies. I have a beef with the
Yes.
last one, but the first 2 were great.
It's okay. We're getting into that. So, Sunrise was like the big contender studio for a long time, and all these people came from them, so they got to work a lot with Sunrise Studios doing all of their stuff. So they came out of that already set up to have an amazing studio because they've already proven their worth on what they did with Sunrise. So unfortunately, Osaka passed away from cancer in 2007, but since his death, the studio has added Makoto Watanabe and Takeshiro Komamori to the board of directors. One of their first projects working on was the Cowboy Bebop movie, Knocking on Heaven's Door, so that's huge. And, oh my gosh, where am I? They moved on from stuff like that to work on a bunch of big-name animes like Soul Eater, Eureka 7, Ouran High School Host Club, Mob Psycho 100, Bungo Stray Dogs, Skate Infinity, The Case Study of Vanitas, and of course, My Hero Academia. So, just a really cool fun fact about Bone Studios is that it's divided into several smaller studios that all work under the umbrella of Bones. So they have studios A through E, and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood was made by Studio D, that was led by Mari Suzaki, and they have mainly been working on Bungo Stray Dogs since 2015, so if this is something you liked, maybe go watch Bungo Stray Dogs, because it's dope. And then the original Fullmetal series was done by Studio C, and the lead producer on that was Yoshihiro Oyabu, I think. I'm sorry, it's a weird name. That one I could not figure out how to pronounce forever. But they did Soul Eater and Ouran High School Host Club, but now that studio is exclusively working on all things My Hero Academia. So that's what they do. I only have a little more, I promise. Just one tiny paragraph. So the OG series debuted in 2003, and it was only able to adapt the first half of the series before it had to switch to original direction because the rest of it wasn't written yet. And whenever they announced that there would be a second adaptation in 2008, it wasn't received well because everyone loved the original Fullmetal Alchemist series so much. So Studio Bones had a lot of trouble getting people to really be excited about Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood until they decided to appeal to the fan base and put a lot more stock into a fan favorite character. Do you want to guess who that character is?
A fan favorite character. Lane?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Roy Mustang.
Oh!
And once they decided that they were going to flesh out his story more, the fans got on board, and eventually Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood would go on to be named one of the best manga adaptations of all time.
It really is. Like, so far, I mean, I think it could honestly be longer, because I'm reading the manga, and that's not something I normally typically say, but I mean, there's so many little stories that are just like a flashback in the show, like the whole mining town thing that I always bring up. I mean, like, that was a really fun episode, and it really shows the characteristic of Al being worried that Ed's doing something illegal, and Ed being like, I'm gonna catch Yoki and give these back to the people, and I don't know. It was good.
But that's all I got. I hope you enjoyed your fun facts. I hope you enjoyed the show because we really enjoyed covering it. And I think it's time for us to choose our next show. What? So I just got it here. I've got them randomized and numbered 1 through 20. All Bridget has to do is roll the dice, and I will tell her what she lands on.
Alright. Let me move all the other dice out of my little rolling tray. You want to see what my rolling tray is? It's that Crimson Peak cigar box from work. Okay, well, maybe. One day. Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
Well,
Aww.
I lined it with like marine
Nice.
felt so that it was a good little D&D rolling box.
Very nice. Are you nervous?
I'm really nervous. Okay. Alright.
Okay.
I'm shaking.
You ready?
Let me make sure this
No
is
pressure.
D20. Yes, okay. There's one time playing D&D, I was like, my D9 rolled an 11. And they're like, what?
Oh.
It was one of our priceless moments of they're like, okay, roll again. Alright, you ready?
I'm ready.
It's 10.
10? Ah, I'm so angry.
Is it Hunter x Hunter?
No, it's Attack on Titan season 1.
Yeah! Oh, how appropriate! Great timing. Oh, you froze and went in slow motion, but that's okay. Hold on. Pausing. Alright, we're back.
Okay.
Internet glitch out. But it's Attack on Titan Season 1! I'm excited.
And I'm annoyed. But the cool thing about Attack on Titan is that it does have very specific arcs. So the way I broke this down is it's 25 episodes, there are 5 arcs, so it's going to be 5 episodes of our podcast. So the first ones we're going to watch is only 4 episodes. We're going to watch episode 1 to you in 2,000 years, the fall of... How the heck do you say that word? Wherever they live. That's what it is. And it's part 1.
So what episodes are we watching? 1 through 4?
And then episode... 1 through 4.
Oh,
1 through 4. Yeah. So that's the first arc within the series. The next episode after that is 5 through 13, though. So, like, it's split in a weird way, but I think watching it by arc is going to be a lot better than watching it in even split up parts.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's what we're going to do. So,
also, I just
guys, we're watching Attack on Titan.
After a
it's
really
everywhere.
Dramatic anime with a lot of gore, we went straight into another dramatic
going into a worse
with
one.
A lot of gore. I mean, like, I'll never forget watching the first episode of Attack on Titan, and I mean, this is great for me because look, I've seen more of Attack on Titan than you have, and I've read all of the manga. Like, so this is a weird swapped places. Like, none of the other shows would have had that. But My Hero, we would have been the same.
That's true.
But this is the first
or
only
Slayer.
show. Oh yeah, or My Hero or Demon Slayer. I'm ahead of you. My Hero were the same, but Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer are the only ones that
My Hero, I might be.
Well, we're the same in
tad bit crazy.
we're the same on watching amount. Yeah, we're the same on watching and reading amount, but you've definitely got years on me for My Hero. Although I am repping my boy.
So,
you are.
Yeah. I'm super not excited to watch this, guys. I like Attack on Titan. Don't get me wrong.
Lawrence would have got me to watch.
I'm just gonna be the biggest hater, and you're all gonna be so mad. No, Will got you to watch this. I did not tell you to watch Attack on Titan. Y'all decided to do this on your own. I said Demon Slayer, and then all of you were like, nah, I watch Attack on Titan.
I watched Demon Slayer, and then I read it all in a day, and was like, this is an amazing, beautiful,
and I'm proud of
show.
you.
What a great manga.
Well, unfortunately, because Attack on Titan has many seasons, Bridget doesn't get to replace it. It gets replaced by season 2.
Man, so I had one for there, but what if the next one?
You'll have to save it. You'll have to save it for next time. I'll be so mad. I will be so mad. It's okay.
I mean, what are the odds?
Well, everybody.
1 out of 20.
Well, everybody, thank you for watching Fullmetal Brotherhood with us. It's been really fun.
I really
I'm
love that
super
this is
excited to watch Attack
the
on Titan
exact
with you.
opposite vibes of the first time we chose the show. We completely flipped. No, we love you, and we love anime, and I'm hyped.
So come join us for episodes 1 through 4 of Attack on Titan, where Lauren will be so grumpy. Okay.
Bye!
Bridget's dancing. Bye.